is one allowed to cut or to change or to endanger one's health because of what may be called a frivolous idea? I mean, if, and again, it is basically not as a part of the question, which is that the natural human body should be considered as the perfection that shouldn't be changed. As said otherwise, we do believe as Jews that nature in any sense is not perfect, and one is allowed to make it better or more beautiful. The question is what is the right to endanger it partially or completely? And those that were dealing with this halachic problem, which is in some kind of problem, came basically to the same decisions, with giving it a certain amount of leeway, which was that up to a certain point, we suppose that people have a right to do certain things, even for the body, with, I would say, with that basic permission that is given to anybody that is de facto a guardian of something, which is to make some small changes, to make improvements in the property, and as some people put it, there would be a question of putting the psychological, emotional well-being of the person versus the damage caused. And the answer would basically be that if the damage from staying in a certain form is overwhelmingly more than the possible damage done by the surgery, then there is a permission to do it, even though the consideration is not completely a physical one. But if we take it, and it is a part of another discussion, if we take basically human soul, body-soul combination as a unit, as not entirely two separate or antagonistic beings, therefore anything that is very harmful to the body is then there is a consideration of doing something, of allowing a procedure to take place, even though it is not completely a physical benefit, which is, by the way, the reason why most people will take anesthesia when doing anything which is very painful, or take any amount of painkillers, which would be the same basic problem. The problem would be if we begin from this assumption. If I am really, by being born or becoming an adult, one of my duties is that I am given one body, basically intact, and I have to give back one body in the same, basically in the same state. Then painkillers are in the way. Painkillers, or almost any medicine, is always, at least peripherally damaging. Some painkillers may be very damaging to the body. Some of them are mildly so, very mildly so. But one cannot take any kind of a outside outside medicine without having interference with the body itself. And the point would be, why is it permitted to do so? And the basic answer would again be that the permission stems from the fact that the spirit, the feeling, is also a part of this consideration to a certain degree, and that has to be measured as the case is, which means that, say, any kind of a cosmetic surgery would be allowed when there is a kind of measuring the danger involved in the procedure versus the damage, even though it is only a psychological and not a physical damage, by the status quo, by the position being, and that if there is an overwhelming reason to do one thing, then it can be done. Again, even though it is a very new legal decision, because mostly cosmetic surgery is a rather modern development, but in some way, especially women, tended to go through a fair amount of suffering, possibly still do, in order to beautify themselves, and which begins at piercing the ears for earrings to dieting, say. All of these things which are incidentally, basically very old, show that there is a certain leeway that is given about the use of the body, even a certain amount of damage to the body, which is done in order to enhance a general well-being, which, as I said, this kind of a combination of psychosomatic relationship is also considered as an ingredient of any possible discussion about what is good for one's body. Now, all this has a meaning for what can one do when one is well and alive, which is the property of the body is not man's, but it belongs like everything else belongs to God. In fact, within the Jewish point of view, the only thing that is basically the property of a human being is his property.